Okay, so welcome. I'm so pleased that you're all here today, and I want to welcome you all to this webinar on getting comfortable being visible and being seen so that you can reach your ideal clients and the people who need you. This topic is close to my own heart, given that I tend to feel quite comfortable with being seen, tend to feel quite comfortable, at least I thought I was, with showing up. And it's been something that I've noticed with my own clients, tends to be the thing that gets in the way, tends to be the thing that they worry about the most, that they have perhaps the most insecure thinking about. So I've worked with a lot of women. I'll give you a bit of background on myself for those of you that don't know me. I've worked with a lot of women who had great ideas, fabulous offers, something cool to put out into the world, be it a blog, be it a book idea, be it a service, a healing modality, a coaching program, an idea really. And often what I noticed with them was, despite having clarity or despite getting clarity during our time together, they failed to take the next step being the action piece, the piece around either putting it out into the world or selling it or marketing it or simply showing up with it wherever they went. And so as I worked with women on that, and not just women, men too actually, but as I worked with my clients on that, it became more and more obvious that really getting ideas and coming up with offers and programs and a message even wasn't always the difficulty, wasn't always the area of concern that they thought it was. Often it was the next step. It was the actual launching of the product, the service, the idea, or whatever it was they had come up with that became the problem. And so it's been close to my own heart, obviously, to share this with as many of you as possible, because becoming visible and getting comfortable with sharing what you've got to offer with others is a make or break when it comes to your business. Because there's no point having these great ideas. There's no point being this gifted healer. There's no point being this, fabulous brand or having a great service or product or blog if no one's getting to experience you and it, if no one's seeing it, if you're not sharing it. And so in today's call, that's exactly what I'd like to explore with you. And I say explore because it's still an area that, although I'm perhaps a bit ahead on with most of my clients, it's still an exploration for me too. Let me give you a bit of background on my journey, and so you can get a sense of where I'm at and what I do, and how this visibility piece and being seen piece has become, an important piece for me too. And so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Grace Kelly, founder of citygirlconfidence.com, and I'm a former school teacher who was working in London teaching French to teenage boys. And I was doing that for a number of years, during which time I really enjoyed teaching but didn't love the 9-to-5 scenario, the paycheck, or the environment that I was working in. And so I dreamed of kind of swapping my lifestyle from a hectic city lifestyle, where I seemed to be constantly on the brink of burnout, to a lifestyle that was more, let's say, connected to my true values and allowed me to experience greater well-being. And so as I swapped my teaching and I took the leap and went from teacher to sort of nothing. I spent about 18 months trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. I spent quite the majority of my time thinking about what I could do and what else I could create in the world. I knew I was a teacher at heart. I knew that I loved helping people. And I had been around a number of coaches whilst in London. I'd been organizing small events in the world of personal development whilst I was there. And it occurred to me one day that maybe I could do that too. And so my journey began in embarking this direction of packaging myself up and packaging what I had seen to be true and what I knew I could do into an offer, a product, a service that I could share with the world and hopefully reach ideal clients with. So roll on 3 years, that was roughly 3 years ago. And today I'm very blessed in the sense that I've been able to work with clients all over the world. I've hosted intensives and retreats, VIP days in the likes of New York City, Sydney, London, Beverly Hills, Dublin. And most recently, I've brought people home to me here where I'm now living in Italy. And I've hosted them at home here in Italy. And so I've had experience of, let's say, creating packages and services and let's say putting myself out there to the degree that I was able to start working with clients, to the degree that I've been able to, let's say, be seen in a big enough way to not have to, let's say, stick to traditional marketing methods. I mean, people often ask me, well, what's your marketing plan and how are you doing it and what's happening? And, you know, I go back to where I started 3 years ago, and I started with a blog. I just started writing about what I was doing and how I had left my job and how different my life was. And I started sharing myself and my journey. And I still write the blog over on citygirlconfidence.com. It still goes out weekly. And it's been something that's been quite easy to keep up. You know, clients often ask me about, you know, well, how do you stay consistent? And the reality is that the consistency is there when you're not in the way and when it's something you actually enjoy doing. And so I've continued to build on that platform. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right platform to reach clients, but I followed my intuition at the time. My wisdom at the time was simply saying, start writing about this. Start writing about your experience of leaving your job. Now, given the fact that I was also living in a country where I didn't speak the language, it was quite natural that my whole life and then my business was going to be online. You know, if I was going to reach English speakers, if people were going to see me, it was going to require an online presence. But it wasn't just online. You know, it wasn't only that. There was also the opportunity for me to be able to, you know, be in front of people, put myself out there, get things moving. Now, in my head at that stage, I wasn't thinking, oh, I need to be visible. Oh, I need to get a client. Oh, I need to make sure that this works. I was rather thinking, how can I share what I'm up to? And how can I have a deep connection with people when I'm living in a country where I don't have any friends and I don't have any language? Now, roll on a couple of years, and thankfully I do have the language, and I have created a lovely community here where I am. But at the time, my direction was very much one step at a time. You know, write the blog, create connection. reach out to people. And then there came a point in my journey where, quite frankly, I got so fed up being financially dependent on my partner, and I got so fed up having no money of my own, that it became apparent that, you know, if I was not going to be fulfilled, if I was going to spend my life, you know, not helping people, first of all, I was going to get depressed, because I don't know about you, but if you've ever spent almost 18 months or a year kind of being in a space where you have time and energy and you're feeling recalibrated, the thing you want to do most after that is you want to go out and serve. You want to be of purpose to others. So no amount of lying on the beach was satisfying me anymore. No amount of thinking about what I could do was satisfying me anymore. And couple that with, quite frankly, a need to get earning, a need to, and a desire to have my own income, was really the sort of two catalysts that had me wake up and go, let's get on with this. Let's see what we can do with this. And so as I was getting and being seen, if you like, albeit behind a blog, behind writing, the next thing that occurred to me was to do a small event, to go back to London and do a small event, and to collaborate with someone else who had reached out to me, and to collaborate with her and bring people together into a room. So that was my next kind of step towards visibility with what I had to offer. I followed that wisdom, I followed that direction, and it was risky. I do remember going to London with £160 in my pocket at that time, and having to kind of put together this very small event. And at that event, I simply shared my journey. Again, I didn't have the perfect packages. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had a willingness to be seen. I had a willingness to serve. I had a willingness to show up. And I didn't take my own insecure thinking about myself too seriously at the time. I just got up there and I did my thing. I told my story. And I do recall making an offer at that event, which fell flat on its face. But I remember at the end of that event, a woman approached me and she said, look, I love what you've done, and I'm in corporate and I really want out. Do you think you could help me get out and at least, you know, start a new life like you have? And so that was the beginning of clientele for me, because from that moment on, I started showing up more regularly. I started sharing more of what I had more regularly. And of course, that would take the form of the blog, and then it would take the form of some small events. Nowadays, it's taken the form of webinars. Here I am online. I've gotten over my insecure thinking enough about my image and things needing to be perfect, to the degree that, you know, I'll get in front of the camera and share. And so what I want you to sort of understand from this journey, ladies and gents, is that, you know, it's possible to be visible, to be seen. It's necessary, but it's possible to do it regardless of what thoughts might be running through your head about whether or not you're ready, whether or not you're expert enough, whether or not you're good enough. It does require a willingness. If you don't have a willingness to be seen, then that's something to consider. That's something to to look at. For many of my clients, a lack of willingness to be seen is stemming from their own insecure thinking about themselves. They get very caught up in it needing to look to be perfect, them needing to look a certain way, them needing to come across a certain way, all of which, of course, I can resonate with. But beyond that insecurity, there tends to be a desire within you. Certainly those of you on this call, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be listening to the recording if there wasn't a willingness. There tends to be that willingness just beyond the insecurity, just beyond the focus on self. And so what I know to be true is that even despite what you might be thinking right now about your service, your product, your blog idea, your packages, your product, your business idea, despite all of it, there's a natural desire and willingness to serve others, to be out there. And believe it or not, as humans, we are wired for success. We are wired for evolution. We never stay at the same level. And we rarely ever, in fact, I don't think ever, drop a level. We might experience unsettling circumstances, but we don't drop down in consciousness and go back to how we were when we were 15. Or 14 or 12 or 7. You know, we're constantly moving up the ladder. We're constantly towards the evolution. We are wired for success. Now, what gets in the way is when we start to take ourselves and life very seriously. When we start to take our thinking seriously. And I want to talk about the thinking for a moment, because this was such a huge revelation to me. I mean, I was working with clients and I was helping them with their message, their offers, their pricing, their branding, their service. And some of them would go out into the world and literally things would take off for them in a matter of weeks or months. And then for others, it seemed to take a very long time. Now, we can never know how long it's going to take, but when I started to look at what was the difference between those that came in, got what they needed, and went out into the world and got clients and made money and got themselves out there, with the others that had basically the same training and the same coaching but didn't do anything with it, well, the difference was that the ones that were out there doing it and getting on with it were not getting lost in their own psychology. They were not getting lost in their insecure thinking. Similar to myself when I got started, I wasn't taking myself more seriously than I was showing up and actually just being of service. And so over time, what I've witnessed and what I've seen is that when there's a healthy psychology, when there's a good state of mind, when we're not lost in the insecure thoughts, we get on with it. We take action, we move forward. And so the foundation to any business success, regardless of whether you have a product, a service, a blog, or you're a coach, a healer, a teacher, self-employed person, the foundation is always going to be the state of mind, the psychology of you, because you are the business. And so that is the element towards getting yourself out there, putting yourself out there. If you can start to notice when you're getting lost in self over service. And if you can start to implement and take action anyway, you are more likely to be seen. You are more likely to be visible. You are more likely to reach the people who need you, rather than remaining a best kept secret. And so there's something about really understanding that even with the best systems in the world, the best message in the world, the best branding in the world, you can't leverage any of that if you're operating from insecure thinking and a low state of mind. And what low state of mind looks like is lethargy, comparison thoughts, discouragement, focus on self. All of those things wipe out any great idea, any great message, any great direction you might have. And this is true in companies too. This is true in any business, you know. A downward spiral can happen in any moment. And often it looks like from the outside, oh, it's the recession, oh, it's, you know, it's the time of year, oh, it's because we didn't learn the right marketing system, or it's because we didn't invest in the right thing. Like, a downward spiral in a company or a business is a direct result of state of mind, not the other way around. It's an inside-out job, not an outside-in job. Now, as our state of mind improves, as our state of mind turns around, it's the only thing we have any control over. You can't control who's going to buy. You can't control if there's a recession. You can't control if you have someone else in the same industry offering something equally good at a better rate. You can't control that, but you can control the healthy functioning of your business. You're starting with your state of mind. And as you get less and less involved in your own insecure thinking, as you get less and less involved in the stories that you're imagining, creating, developing, or habitually thinking for years perhaps, as you start to see those for what they are and you start to give less relevance and belief to those, you naturally experience hopefulness. You naturally experience positivity. You naturally start to experience the healthy functioning of this great mind we've been given. And as a result of that, you move more towards an upward spiral. You move more towards results. You move more towards spotting opportunity and confidently acting on it. And so I know for some of you, you're probably thinking, well, no, I just need the right system. I just need the right marketing plan. I just need to do every single thing that she did, and then I'll get the same result. Well, that might work here and there, but if you really want to leverage anybody's system, best system being your own, by the way, but if you really want to leverage it, you've got to be in the right state of mind. You've got to not be lost in your own insecurities. Your focus has got to be service, not self. And you might recognize over time that perhaps if you have had ideas that you haven't put out into the world yet, it's simply because your attention has been mostly on yourself. And, you know, that's not being said in a sort of blame way, you know, but it's where our state of mind goes when we're in a low state of mind. It's where we naturally tend towards when we're getting discouraged, when we've been in a cycle of not feeling good, when we haven't seen clients come in. For perhaps some of you that are starting out, you haven't seen people for months or weeks, or nobody's on the phone with you. You can very quickly fall into discouragement. And so it can really look like what will settle your mind and improve your business is learning more strategy, is bringing together more structure. And I kind of went on that journey myself, where it really looked to me at the time like I needed to know more stuff in order to succeed. And when I look back, I rarely use any of the stuff I learned. And B, it was kind of coming from insecure thinking itself, to think that I needed more systems in order to get where I wanted to be. The thing I've seen to be true is that as my state of mind stays level or improves, I'm spotting opportunity more frequently. And that's the game you're in with business. You're spotting and acting on opportunity. As my state of mind goes down, as I get into discouragement, or as I get into comparison thoughts, or as I get lost in insecure thinking, spotting opportunities is the last thing I can do when I'm in that state of mind. In that state of mind, you know, people generally experience lethargy and exhaustion and just getting through the day and doing the rat race cycle of constantly doing more work but getting no results. Well, then nothing is leveraged. Then nothing is useful when you're in that state of mind. The great news is, in a better state of mind, as the insecure thinking passes, as you don't give it as much relevance, as you don't take yourself as seriously, you're naturally wired to go back up to a higher level of consciousness, of mindset, of positivity. And from that place, you see more clearly. You're not in the dark. You're not covered with turbulence up here and clouds in front of your eyes. Instead, you naturally start to see what to do next, who you could help if you're in conversation with people. So it's not to say that having your ducks in a row is not important. It absolutely is. I mean, one of the core things I help my clients with is getting their message clear and translating what they've got into a language and offer a product or service that the world understands. That's crucial, and then putting it out into the world, getting visible with it, being seen with it, following the marketing that you'd like to do, crucial. But the step before the step that matters, is having the healthy psychological functioning of your business working. And that starts with you in your state of mind. That starts with you not getting lost in your insecure thinking. That starts with you getting out of your own way enough to start to spot opportunity and act on it, to get an idea and implement it, to put it out into the world regardless of what others are going to think or not think, and to run with it. And so I'll share a little bit later on the call, we've got up to an hour together, but I'll share a little bit later, a bit more on this piece around insecure thinking. It's something that is very close to my own heart, having seen the difference that it makes when you're not in it, having seen the results that are generated quite quickly when you're not in it. To move to some of the pieces that might be practical for you, that might support you with being seen and being visible, of course, alongside and with understanding what state of mind you're in and whether or not you're getting lost in your own self-consciousness. There's a few things that I find people can do to sort of just start getting themselves out there, just to start getting their message out there. And so I thought we might go through a few of those. You know, I mentioned in the sort of marketing for the call that we would look at, you know, the fastest route to visibility. And so it's literally a fast route to visibility is literally doing what occurs to you. Mine was blogging. There's something passing through your head regularly that you're probably ignoring or forgetting or getting too lost and caught up in yourself to get going with. But your fastest route to visibility is sharing your message, your product, your offer or service in the way that it's occurring to you. So that could be, and I'll just throw a few out there, but that could be anything from podcasting, videoing, webinaring, Facebook adding, eventing, getting in front of an audience. Some of my clients have become visible quickly through applying to Huffington Post and asking if they can write an article for Huffington Post. Others have become visible really quickly with things like Periscope and Facebook Live. Others have used traditional pieces like instant teleseminar, a radio show, a live call. And so your fastest route is whatever makes you feel comfortable. I was so lost in insecure thinking 3 years ago about myself that the thing that felt most comfortable to me at the time was just to write, and was just to share my experience through the blog. And that was pretty fast for me because it was occurring to me, so I wasn't looking at other people and thinking, maybe I should do what they do. Maybe I should try that. Maybe I should do this. Like, I was literally hearing it from within. Write the blog, Grace. Write the blog. Write the blog. And it didn't really go away until I started writing it. And it still sort of reminds me. So there's no right way to get visible, but there's likely something occurring to you that would be a helpful way for you to start sharing your message, sharing your product, sharing your service. And you getting on with sharing it is how you're going to reach people. It's how you're going to be seen. Now, we've discussed and touched on getting comfortable with being seen. You know, I mean, this is where you have to somewhat pull up your boots and say, is it more important for me to be stuck worrying about myself or to be of service to others? And for those that work with me, I just tend to find that the more they're lost in their own self, the more they need to be of service, because it's in being of service to others that you lose yourself in a positive way. So you can have all this thinking about what you look like, whether or not you're good enough, whether or not what you're saying is correct, whether or not they like your service and you. But the moment you're actually serving someone, in whatever form that takes for you, that's the moment you're not focused on yourself. So there's no better way to get over yourself than to be of service. There's no better way to get out of your own way than to be of service. Getting comfortable with being seen requires you to get over yourself, requires you to not get lost in that insecurity. Requires you, in some cases, if you're talking about an online situation, may require you to delete people from your friends list if you're really that caught up about what they might think when you put yourself out there. Or it may require you to create a private group on social media that's just for your product, service, or offer. But the more hidden you are, the less people are going to connect with you. And keep in mind, they connect with your humanity. They don't connect with your perfectionism. They like your photos, but they don't connect with you through the best photo shoot in the world. They like your lifestyle, but they don't connect with you and your story when the image is constantly a perfect life. And let's face it, I mean, social media tends to just highlight the best bits, right? So those are 3 simple ways to get comfy being visible straight away, actually. You know, choose something that doesn't make you squeamish and start putting it out into the world. Be that writing, videoing, Facebooking, periscoping, eventing, whatever it is, whatever is occurring to you. Second one being, you'll get comfy being seen when you get over yourself. So notice your insecure thinking and let it pass through. Thinking doesn't have a life of its own. Thinking has no relevance unless you start to buy into it and give it relevance. So notice it, and that might be in the form of, oh my God, I've got this brilliant blog idea, but no, I can't put that out in case my auntie sees it. Or, oh my God, I've got this fabulous video idea, but oh no, wait a second. I don't want them to see me looking like this. I'm supposed to be a professional. Like, let it pass through. Notice it, but don't act on it. Don't allow it to be the thing that determines whether or not you're going to be visible. It's kind of like, feel the insecurity and do it anyway. And then the third way to get really comfy being seen so that clients can actually see you and reach you is to be consistent. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. It's kind of like going to the gym. If you keep working out certain muscles, over time, they're just strong. The moment you stop going, you start losing them. So be consistent with being seen in whichever format is most comfortable to you, rather than kind of do it here, there, and then not do it for weeks or months. One of the number one ways you can find clients, and I touched on this earlier, is when you're in a good state of mind, when you're not getting lost in insecurity, you're more likely to spot opportunity. Now, people come to me and they really want to be niched into something. They really want to be targeting a certain group of people. And what I've found over time is, even though it's useful to be known for one area. It's useful to get traction before you change direction and open it up. What I've noticed is that most of us have something that everybody needs. Now, I'm kind of generalizing here because I know I've got coaches on the phone, but so I will speak to business owners in a second who have a product or service, but for coaches in particular, you're in the business of, regardless of what you're doing, you're in the business of well-being. People are looking for improvement and well-being in particular areas of their life. They want to feel well in the area of money. They want to feel well in the area of body. They want to feel well in the area of relationships. They want improvement in the area of career. But as an overall kind of arch, an umbrella, you're in the business of improvement. And there are like 7 billion people on the planet. I don't know anybody that's not looking for improvement. And you're the missing link most of the time as a coach. So by all means, be focused on your target market, but finding clients requires you also to be open to spotting the opportunity in front of you. So she or he may not show up with the specific problem that you solve. But the likelihood is, being in the business of improvement and well-being and happiness, let's say, the likelihood is you can help them get improvement in an area that they're really struggling in. So finding clients is not this big, hard, difficult thing that you just like, it seems to be eluding you. It's everywhere. The opportunity is everywhere. And you're closing the gap. Your job is to close the gap between spotting the opportunity and acting on it, showing them or letting them know or having conversations with them about how you might help them, how you could help them. Now, some of my clients are brilliant at spotting opportunity. They can really see it. They're like, oh man, this woman was in the coffee shop yesterday and we ended up chatting for an hour, and she's like thinking about divorcing her husband, and she's not sure, and she's all over the place. Her state of mind's really bad at the minute, and and I'll say to them, well, so what happened? Did you have a good conversation? And then ask her if she'd like to take the conversation further. And some of them will say to me, well, no, because I'm not an expert in relationships. I'm not an expert in divorce and whether or not somebody should divorce. Well, that would be an example of having opportunity and not acting on it, right? Like, most of the coaches I work with, most of the clients I have, they're all brilliant at helping people. But sometimes in their head, they're only supposed to help a specific person in a specific way. And that immediately cuts out the rest of the world and can block opportunity. So there's something about seeing that your job in finding clients is to remain open to the opportunity, even if it doesn't show up the way that you think it should. And by all means, niche, by all means, have a specific area that you specialize in. But keep in mind that, if you're in a good state of mind, if you're not taking your insecure thinking too seriously, you'll likely be spotting opportunity left, right, and center, online or offline. As somebody said to me yesterday, I think it was one of my lovely clients, that said, well, you don't understand, Grace. Everyone's a coach in Los Angeles. The market's saturated. And, no one kind of wants to do coaching now. And she was kind of, giving me her experience of of what that was like. And I said to her, I had a completely different experience in Los Angeles because I live in Italy where nobody knows what coaching is. Yeah, there's probably not a high number of coaches. And my experience of Los Angeles was the opposite to hers, that there was opportunity everywhere, mostly because I spoke English and so did the people in Los Angeles. But the point was that when you're in a low state of mind, you might really think that opportunity is nowhere to be seen. But your country, your environment, the language you speak, none of that gets in the way of opportunity. None of that gets in the way. What gets in the way is if you're not spotting it, if you're in a low state of mind and your insecure thinking is running the show and you are not spotting opportunity, then you can't get to step 2, which is acting on it. Be that offering a call, following up with someone, telling them about your program or whatever it is. So again, we're coming back to the foundation of your business success being, where are you at with state of mind? Where are you at with how you're seeing the world? Are you discouraged? Are you not seeing clearly? Is there a lot of turbulence up here? Does it look like there aren't opportunities for you? Does it feel hard to get clients to be doing the work that you're doing? Does it get to the point where it comes to acting an opportunity and you back out because you get so lost in your insecurities? Are you keeping yourself invisible? Are you playing small? So there's a whole link of things that really are very important to be aware of as you begin to send yourself out into the world. For business owners, similar, absolutely the same. The only difference being that maybe your product or service is just for a particular group of people. In that case, you may want to come up with something that the whole world could benefit from. Maybe that's going to be your next thing. Maybe that's the next step for you to get clear on. But it's very apparent that when you're not lost in these ideas that you have about yourself, then you neither need people to like you, nor do you need to be suffering as you try and get your business off the ground. So I hope that this has been useful today, and I'd like to kind of segue into an opportunity that I have for you if you have resonated with this, and if you are feeling connected to what I'm sharing here. And so if you could give me a few minutes to hear that out, this might interest you. But essentially, I have a telecourse 6-week program starting next Thursday, September 29th. And so we're running between now and the end of November, roughly. And we're looking at the whole healthy psychological functioning of you and your business. So we're looking at helping you get over your insecure thinking and get yourself out there. So if you have an idea or a product or a service or a coaching program or something that you just really want to get running with before the end of this year, this program could be perfect for you. If you're the type of person that's kind of slowly coming out of hiding, of the spiritual closet perhaps, or kind of putting your foot in the water, but you're a bit afraid to go all in on your own, then this program will be ideal for you too. So let me just run through what's going to happen during the course of our time together on that program. Essentially, we're really moving you from operating from insecure thinking to your innate confidence. So we're looking at really exploring how you can operate more from confidence and less from insecurity. So that's why week 1 will all be around the exploration of what is the source of insecurity and how do we move beyond it. This will be helpful in terms of what I've discussed today, you know, setting the foundation for healthy psychological functioning, setting the foundation for operating from a higher state of mind where you're able to spot and act on opportunities as opposed to kind of remain on a treadmill and not leverage anything you're coming up with. So week 2 then will be about natural confidence. So we're going to explore, you know, what that is, where it comes from, and how you can be in it more of the time. And I find that when people are really connected to their innate confidence, they start to take action easily. They start to move beyond their insecurities, and they start to see the world in a new way. They get fresh thinking about who they are and how what they've got can serve humanity. So on week 2, we're really delving into, you know, that natural innate confidence within you and how you can leverage it to get things done in your business and the world. Week 3 is all about you. So, you know, we'll have set the foundation well in week 1 and 2. So week 3, we're looking at your specific insecurities, what's going through your head, how you can get out of your own way and get on with what you're here to do. We'll focus specifically on visibility and putting your message, your offer, your product, your service, your blog, your audio, whatever it is you've got, we'll focus on helping getting that out there so that you can naturally start reaching the customers who need you. You'll find by this stage in the program, there's a natural willingness coming through you to be seen. There's a natural willingness coming through you to serve, regardless of whether or not you've been in insecure thinking for years. That's irrelevant at this point. By week 3, I'm certain you'll be seeing something new about your experience, and you'll be operating in a more confident, more graceful way, excuse the pun, but in a way that really suits you and is true to you. Week 4 will be all about other people. So you've dealt with you, and now we're going to look at other people, and we're going to address ways for you to get comfortable sharing what you've got, how to develop deep connection and strong relationships with customers, with clients, with others too, and specifically how to handle comparison thoughts. Comparison thoughts seem to come in for a lot of women. Comparison thoughts around what other people are doing, whether or not you measure up, whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you're adequate, whether or not you're expert enough. So week 4, we're really delving into, you know, developing that state of mind with that natural innate confidence that no longer gets lost in comparison thoughts. And we're looking at other people, of course. Most of you are going to be in relationship with clients, customers, you know, family, men, whatever it is and whoever it is you're in relationship with. This is the week where you're really going to delve into, you know, your innate confidence in that area. Week 5 will be particularly important for you if you're in business, if you're a coach, if you're starting out, if you're a new business owner. We're going to look specifically at money on this week, okay? We'll have set the foundation strongly enough that we can address the money aspect. Most people have insecure thinking about money. It's natural, and there's probably something very new for you to see about money. There's probably something very fresh for you to see about money. And as your state of mind improves over the course of these 6 weeks, so will your consciousness around money, selling, service, and anything else that tends to just freak you out. So we'll look at how you can stop spinning and gain clarity and confidence in the areas of money, sales, service, and message. And finally, on week 6, we'll look at embracing change without going broke or freaking out. So as you move into operating from your innate confidence, of course, there will be areas in your life that might need change. Perhaps you want to change your career, or maybe you want to change your business direction or your income level or your relationship or simply, you know, your circumstances. So you'll be supported in really getting out of any fears and insecurities around change and being able to gracefully, you know, embrace that without freaking out and without going broke in the process. What I'll share with you is that on each call is 90 minutes, and they're on each week, on the 6 consecutive weeks. And I'll be opening up the lines for personal coaching with me. So I'll set the table with what I've discussed there across the 6 weeks with the 6 topics that we've got. But then I'll open up the lines so that you can get coaching from me, you know, during the call. So because we're a small and pretty intimate group, I believe we have 5 spaces remaining. You know, we're not going to be a huge group where you're not going to be able to get a coaching question answered, or where you're not going to be able to get some support from me. You'll also have email support across the 6 weeks, and there'll be a Facebook group where you can connect with each other, and where you can also write me a question if something comes up for you during the week. And so the program starts next Thursday, 29th of September, 5 p.m. Italy, 4 p.m. UK, 8 a.m. Los Angeles. And the price of the program is £547. So for those of you in the US, I know the pound and the dollar are very similar at the moment. It's probably the best time ever for Americans to get in on Great British Pound pricing. So if you'd like to consider joining us, as I said, there's 5 spaces left. I'm expecting those to fill across the next number of days, since we're starting on Thursday of next week. And in order to book the program, in order to get onto the course, it's very simple. You go to citygirlconfidence.com/sales, SALES, /thinker. Okay, so alternatively, what you can do is you can email me directly on grace@citygirlconfidence.com, and I'm happy to offer like 15 minutes of my time if you want to get on board and find out, you know, if this is definitely the right step for you. What I would say is that if you've been on your own and you've been trying to get visible, get things done, get yourself out there, get your first client, get perspective when it comes to money or messaging or your service or anything like that, then this is probably the way that I can help you between now and the end of the year in actually being able to see something new, create momentum, and get things done at the most affordable rate. Of course, my one-to-one offers are always available for you, but there's something really special about coming together as a small group and being able to be inspired and motivated by those around you, and be in a consecutive, consistent weekly call together where you both have time to explore what I've discussed, but also get private personal coaching from each call. So if this speaks to you, feel free to email me straight away. I've got time to speak to you between today, tomorrow, and Monday. And if you know it's for you, simply go ahead and you can press the purchase button on our sales page over on citygirlconfidence.com/sales/thinker. So I hope this has been useful today, ladies and gents. And if you do nothing else after this call, just at least keep in mind that your ability to spot and act on opportunity is all that matters in business. And in order to get to that point, keeping yourself in check where your state of mind is concerned and not getting lost in your own insecure thinking is what matters. Taking action in whichever way feels right for you, in whichever way feels comfortable for you, given that you might be in a hurricane of thought about yourself, is going to be a much easier way to have clients find you, see you, connect with you, reach out to you, than if you were to sit and stay stuck in the thinking that's telling you that you're not good enough, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes, everybody else has got it already, you're not clear. So just notice where you're putting your attention when it comes to that state of mind. And I'll be back with you soon with another webinar, and I look forward to hearing from you. And for those of you that would love to join the course and have 6 weeks of coaching together, I look forward to welcoming you. So have a great day, everyone. Bye.